Oh, it's just a show of sound effects today.
Oh, welcome to the Autopad.
The Motorboat Podcast,
Hey, I'm Speedo.
where we don't discuss anything regarding motorboats on water.
Hey,
All right.
all right. Let's do it.
In 3.
That was a question.
Two.
It was a
Oh.
let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You sure?
Let's make it happen.
All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Autobelt Podcast. I am your host, Patrick, and you all know my assistant host.
That's okay. I'm okay with assistant host.
No, I am Jim.
As long as the pay stays the same, I'm good. You call me anything.
Oh, it's 100% right where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as we keep it paid the same for doing this podcast,
Anything
I'm
that's a
good. Assistant host. Yeah. There's a lot
ladies and gentlemen, let's just do this once. Let's just do, hold on one second. Let's just
of them. All right.
if the audience will please humor us for 1 second. All right. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Autobelt Podcast. I'm your host, Patrick, and you all know my consigliere, Mr. the one and only amazing Chili.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And, of course, you all know our producer, Jer Bear.
Hey, everyone.
Oh, man, what a day it's been so far. If for those of you who don't know, we're recording on not our normal day, and I apparently don't know what I'm doing.
It's got us all thrown off.
It is completely, it's like the moon is out, the sun is out,
Yeah.
the stars are out, and
All
it's
of 'em.
noon, and it shouldn't be out. It's just been completely insane, but work schedules require us to pivot, and so we're pivoting.
We're pivoting.
Pivot.
I don't get the reference.
Friends.
I don't watch those bad shows. I watch the better ones like Seinfeld.
I didn't watch either one of them, so what's that make me? Horrible?
What did you watch in Living Color?
Yes.
I can't say that, can I?
No. You can say that, sure.
Can I?
Yeah, you can say that.
Jim Carrey was on it. He was great.
Jim Carrey was great. Fire Marshal Bill.
Yes, loved. Did you know that? I just I got to go back and watch it and see if it actually is the case. They said that Jim Carrey in Liar Liar, at the end when he's filming the scene at the airport and he's like outside the airplane driving around and it crashes and everything. Not the plane, but his car does.
Mm-hmm.
And they have all the firefighters and everybody. For some reason, everybody gets off the plane in the middle of the runway, which I don't think would actually happen in real life, but sure. Apparently, he shows up as Fire Marshal Bill in, but it's like just a quick shot,
Right.
and you have to really. So I don't know if it's CGI'd in or if it's actual. I got to go back and watch it. But that'd be kind of cool if it actually is a real thing.
That would be.
But anyways, so how has your week so far been? Weekends?
My week's been busy.
How can it be busy?
Oh my goodness. The pressure and stress to get these trucks turned.
It has turned into full-blown
Oh my goodness.
Instapot pressure cooker.
It truly has. It truly has.
Yeah.
But we're doing our best. We're getting them taken care of. It's just time. You can only give a shop so many trucks and expect them to have them done the same day. Like none. Occasionally, but we're at that point.
Yeah, we're definitely at that point, and we are kind of bursting at the seams a little bit. I know this past Monday I went out to Bolt and took a truck out there, picked one up, brought it back, and only because there was nobody else to do it. It was just so stinking busy.
Well, it's just been that busy, unfortunately.
Yes.
And we can only the shops don't work exclusively for us. So
That is
they're working in
unfortunate.
our trucks as well as other customer trucks, and it just takes time. Monday, I think the timing worked out perfectly for you to go to Bolt on Monday.
I agree.
That you were able to had the free time to run up there and take care of that for us.
I agree. And I actually had something planned, an appointment planned for that day, and it got canceled. But thankfully, I was able to find out first thing in the morning, and I was able to reach out to Bolt, and they were actually finished with the truck and had not alerted us. So I was able. I take that back. They were not finished with it. They were finishing it up. They had like one thing left to do, which they were almost done with, and it's a 3-hour drive. roughly from here to there. So plenty of time for them to get it all taken care of and buttoned up. So I was very fortunate to be able to make that swap. And that's always an interesting ride, especially when you do a swap like that, because it's 3 hours up. You spend a couple minutes at Bolt, and then you come right back when you're swapping trucks. And so it's 3 hours back. So it's a 6 hour, 6.5 hour turn, which makes for it's a pretty long day.
It is. Yeah.
And, you got pre-trips on top of that.
Right.
You had to do it on both vehicles. And, of course, you log everything still.
Sure.
So it does make for an interesting day.
And the weather didn't help.
The weather did not
help you Monday.
It was not bad getting out there, but on the way back, I was on the phone with you actually when that storm hit, and it was like
I thought I was hearing static on the phone.
Yeah, with my Bluetooth, I was just unbelievable how loud the rain was. With noise canceling Bluetooth, it was still
coming through.
It was pelting, but no hail damage, thankfully.
Yeah,
and the periods of rain were kind of coming in waves, so it wasn't like consistently raining the entire drive. It actually was just raining in like a little 15-20 minutes of rain here, clear for half an hour, then another 15 minutes of rain, clear, 5 minutes of storm, clear. So I don't mind that as much as I do when I'm driving through okay, today's shift is all day rain.
Yeah.
Especially when you're driving with the storm.
Yep. It's just right there with you.
The whole time. It's like, oh, man. Because after some point, there's that whole seasonal depression syndrome or whatever that is that they talk about that happens when it's gloomy outside. A full 11-hour shift of nothing but rain does that.
It gets you down.
It does. There's just no way around it. And it wears you out. You got to be more hypervigilant, more alert.
Yep.
But because it's raining, you don't want to take as many stops. You try to rest less. You try to work more while you're doing something that's more
physically, mentally fatiguing.
Fatiguing, yeah. So those long rain days, they're not my favorite. I would much rather a nice hot dry day or something like that. But or a storm that's just going to be all right for the next 30 minutes. I got a storm, and then after that, I'm good to go again.
It'll be done. Yeah.
So
that trip to Bolt was a pain in the butt, but thank you for taking care of it for me. I really appreciate that.
Oh well, that's the only reason I bring it up. Was just
very helpful.
But. It was nice. I appreciated it. The one of the fun things about that trip too is not fun. This is going to sound terrible, and I apologize to everybody listening. There's a couple segments of road where you don't have cell phone service for an hour.
Yeah,
and it's kind of nice.
That quiet is nice.
Forced.
Yeah,
an hour or 2 hours round trip of forced no telephone.
Right.
Oh, it's great.
It's great.
It's wonderful.
Great.
Gives my Bluetooth a chance to recharge. We got some podcast hours in, just kind of.
I miss it. I haven't been on the road in forever, it feels like, because I just haven't been available because it just hasn't worked out.
I guess you're right. I haven't thought about that.
Yeah.
You haven't done a Medina or a Fort Wayne or a.
Quite some time. Yeah, you've been doing all those because it just the way things work out where I'm here taking care of business and you can take care of a lot of your business on the phone as you're driving.
Yeah.
And for me, I can't move a truck while I'm moving a truck.
True. Yeah, that'd be a little challenging.
It is challenging.
Yeah.
I tried once in the yard.
I remember one of those trips I had to go run down to Texas. I had a pretty important meeting I had to be at but it was all via Zoom. So I just knew that, and I brought my laptop down with me. And then 15 minutes before, I completely forgot about it. 15 minutes before I got the alert, and I was like, oh no. But I was on 71 headed towards, 71 headed towards Louisville.
Okay.
And I had already gone through Cincinnati, so I already done the split, now past the big dump and our landfill and everything. And I was like, there's a Love's here. I know there is. I just don't know how far away I am from it. It was 12 miles away from it. So 15 minutes to go, 12 miles to get there. So I get in, and that Love's is a challenge because you get off and you got to make S turns to get back to the fuel bay, and there's always a billion people there. And people are fighting over spots, and so I'm just in a sheer sweat, panic. Get parked, jump outside, or not outside, but jump into the sleeper, open my laptop up, get my Bluetooth or my internet and everything connected together on the laptop, and jumped on my meeting. And I'd gotten on there I was the last person on, but only by like a couple seconds.
Oh, but you were on
so
time, right?
it wasn't a big deal. I might have been 1 minute late,
All right.
but yeah. It was, one of those things where it's like, I felt so stupid. Of course, everybody's prepared and ready for the meeting, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm doing great, In the back of my head, I'm like, what are we doing this meeting for again? But yeah, that's the kind of thing you can do from the road.
Sure.
If you have to do some of that stuff, you can kind of move around. It's pretty easy. But
it seems like we've had more lately, too, though, trucks having to be moved around than we did in the previous 11 months I've been doing this job.
Well, there's a couple things that are different. So if you remember, we bought several used trucks from across the country. And so when you buy a used truck, because there's very little new inventory. We don't normally buy used trucks. We're pretty opposed to it. But the past couple of years, getting trucks, period, has been very difficult.
Challenging.
So we did buy some used trucks, and then we didn't just get them and throw teams in them. We got them, and then we refurbished them and went through the trucks and all that stuff to make sure they're up to our spec. And and we only bought trucks that could be made to our spec, right? So because of that, we did a lot of crazy maneuvering. I mean, we had out to Phoenix, out to Dallas,
Texas a couple times.
Dallas, several times.
Yeah.
And then when you get those trucks, you never really know what you're getting your hands into with a used truck. I mean, you can take a pretty good guess, but it's still hard to tell. Especially some of them were, how do I put this? Really good deals.
Yeah. You got to wonder why this is such a good deal.
Yeah. So, if you're a first-time truck buyer and you buy something like that, it could be a problem because you don't know. If you don't know what you're getting yourself into, then you could find yourself in a world of hurt. I'm a pretty experienced truck buyer, so there's a formula, a scale of, all right, this truck with this many miles, I'm willing to pay this much for, in great condition, and then there's a bottom scale of like unknown, so not bad condition, just unknown. Unknown could end up being great.
Sure.
But unknown could also need $75,000 to get it up to great.
Right.
So I have that sliding scale, and if it fits in that range, then we'll buy it.
So you're with your scale, you're looking at purchase price of the truck.
Correct.
Plus what you think maybe needed on that truck. So your scale includes the entire package versus just the sales price.
Absolutely. I think there's no other way to do it.
I agree.
I mean, anything beyond that, you're gambling. So what I'm doing, like the trucks we buy are trucks that can have warranties added to them. They can be upfit easily to our spec.
Right.
Plus, there's a margin there for the unknowns. So,
now, when you say upfit, what are you talking about?
Okay, so upfitting a truck can cover everything from putting a box on it. Upfitters, like most of your box companies that put cargo boxes on the trucks, like these.
Sure.
They're known as upfitters.
Okay.
So upfitting is everything that's done to a truck after it's built. Makes sense, right?
Gotcha. Makes perfect sense.
So for us, when I say upfitting, when I'm talking about a used truck or a repossessed truck that we buy off of a creditor or something like that, that is a truck. That is all the stuff we're going to do additionally to the truck over and beyond to get it set up to our specifications.
Gotcha.
So like all of our trucks have roof-mounted air conditioners. That's rare. A lot don't. So a lot of the trucks we buy, we have to add rooftop air conditioners to them. A lot of them don't have the diesel-fired heaters. We have to add that. A lot of them don't have in-motion satellite. We have to add that. I mean, on the M2s, we put those nice fairings on them. Most people don't buy those.
Makes them
so we have to add them. Exactly. Lift gates. A lot of people don't put lift gates on dry vans. We do. We want the maximum amount of revenue a truck can produce, and so we add all that stuff to it to get it in line with the rest of our trucks so that, we can sit back today and say, I don't necessarily know what brand, model, make, or truck you're going to get into, but I do know it's going to have a rooftop air conditioner. I know it's going to have at least a 6,000-watt generator. I know it's going to have water heater. I know it's going to have a full RV-size refrigerator. I know it's going to have a bed that folds up into a dinette set. I know it's going to have television, in-motion satellite. I know we're going to have, I think I said that twice. I know it's going to be an automated manual transmission, which is an automatic transmission. It's just the fancy way they say it.
Right.
I know it's going to have a Class 8 engine, usually a DD13. which is a 1,000,000-mile engine, so you're not down for constant breakdowns. I know that it's going to be within a warranty period. I know that it's going to have a lift gate. I know the boxes are going to be at least 20 foot long. Like, all those little things that we can say to people that we know for a fact this is what you're going to get.
Sure.
That is getting things up to our spec. When we buy used trucks, a lot of times they don't have all that stuff on them. So we have to add and modify. And it takes a long time. So when we buy a used truck, sometimes within a month we can have them flipped if they're real close to what we already do.
Real close, sure.
As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, I bought an M2 from a company in Cleveland. It's funny is that we were talking about Cleveland before the show. That truck, I was buying a different truck from that company. We go up there. They have this truck on the lot, and I was like, what are y'all doing with that?
Right.
And she said, it's one of our customers. They gave it a go in our world. They'd run tractors.
Okay.
They gave it a go in straight trucks, didn't like it, and so they walked away and gave the truck back to the dealership, like walked away.
Wow.
And so they had it there. I walked around, I'm like, this is exactly my spec truck, like identical. I looked at the VIN number. It was one VIN number off of like a series of trucks we bought.
Right.
So I called up my local dealership and I asked them and talked to them about it. And my truck dealer's like, yeah, I remember selling the truck to that guy. Like, we knew everything about it. Yeah. It is exactly my spec. And so it was literally finance it, run it through our inspection process, find out what's broken on it, just like we would do any other truck. And I think they had an issue with the lift axle, like a valve was messed up that we had to get replaced. But outside of that, brand it,
it's good to go,
insure it, and get it on the road. It was a very, very, very quick flip for us. They're usually not that nice.
No.
But
or that quick.
Exactly, or that quick. So we can have trucks. I think the longest truck I ever had sitting, or not sitting, but in the process of getting upfit, it's probably 8 or 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising. That was one of the worst case scenario kind of situations. But the truck's still running in our fleet. It's still a good truck. Again, we got the purchase price correct so that when it had to sit for all those months, or not sit, but it was going shop to shop to shop during all those months, it didn't really hurt us. It's not like we got behind the 8 ball on it because of that. But again, having the cash to be able to do all that, having the money in the bank, having the ability to, first-time truck buyers, I mean, unless you should come in here with an amazing pension or something, that's really hard to do. So
yeah, when those trucks sit like that, the finance company doesn't care the truck's being upfit, that you're not running it. They want their money.
Absolutely.
They want their money. So you have to have that bankroll to be able to take care of that.
Yes.
Or the runway to be able to pay for that while things are going on.
Absolutely. And big dealerships do it on a floor plan. We don't. We just get a loan payment and roll with it that way. But it's a good business to be in. When you can get those trucks at a right deal, it does make sense to do it, especially when there's no trucks available.
Right.
I'd say there's probably, of all the trucks we bought, there's probably 2 or 3 that we wouldn't have bought if trucks were readily available.
Sure.
But they weren't. And so we bought them, we went through them, we spent the money to get them to where they're at now, and if you look at them, you cannot tell the difference between ones we bought brand new and ones we bought used.
Really
and that's the important part is being able to get a truck to that point. And we have talked about before, worst case scenario is if we ever bought a truck that just wouldn't work out, we'd just sell it immediately. We wouldn't try and fit it in our fleet.
Sure. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's a little behind the scenes of, or behind the curtain of upfitting trucks and what we're trying to get done. So we are doing that right now with 4 trucks? I think it's 4 trucks. Might be 4. No, it's 4.
It's 4.
It's 4.
It is 4.
Yeah, that's taking up a lot of shop time, and I know that's causing a lot of heartburn. But it looks like you just got one out, so we're about to have one on the road really soon.
We just got one out, but it has another shop to go to. That shouldn't take very long.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we have others that are working their way through the process. So
yeah,
it just takes time.
It does.
And when we have trucks that need a lot of upfitting done to them, or there's a lot of unknown that we have to have a shop go through and work on, and we bring them another truck that needs an APU PM or an engine PM, that we can get out faster, and we put that truck in front of the other.
They stop the work.
Yeah. They only have so many bays, so many people, so it just gets delayed a little more than we'd like, but it's the nature of the beast where we got to get this truck out. We have teams that are ready to go in trucks.
Absolutely.
So I can do a truck in 2 days and turn it around real quick, or I shouldn't say it like that. If I have a truck that needs an APU PM which can be done quickly, versus all the other things on the other truck. Well, that truck goes to front of the line so we can get it back on the road as soon as possible.
Absolutely. And that's one thing our recruiting staff, I'm sure a lot of you talked to Melissa, a.k.a. Buttermilk. You've talked to Delina, or you've talked to Kayla, or maybe you've texted with Jerry on the
Sure
online.
Maybe.
They have done a great job. Too good of a job. So now we're like, when we set up and said, okay, let's start recruiting, we kind of said, let's not use these trucks. Let's focus on these other trucks we have available. Let's not focus on those.
Yeah.
And now we've got I'm trying to say this politely, we have so many teams that want to go work and go drive that we are trying to get the trucks that we weren't counting on done and use. So it's a little bit of it's fun.
Melissa and I went through it a little bit when she first started, maybe a couple weeks into her role as a recruiting, where she was excited that she got a team through the process, her first team through the process, and she told me all about it. And my response was, I'm happy for you, but it causes me great stress.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't tell you. I said, no, please tell me.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out anyway. Please tell me, because I want to celebrate your successes with you.
Absolutely.
The stress of having a team coming on board and I don't have a truck available, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Regardless. So please tell me. And I still have a job to do, and I still work through that process.
Yeah.
It doesn't change that. And it's going to be a constant thing. Just the nature of the turnover in this business, it's going to be a constant thing.
It's also, it is a little bit escalated right now. It's a little amplified right now because of all of the part shortages, supply chain issues, labor issues.
Yeah.
I mean, like mechanics are.
Yeah.
We're talking to some of these people that run these shops, and mechanic just won't show up for work, and that's it. They never call, they never ask anything. They're just gone into Never Neverland. So getting mechanics to work on trucks, getting the space to be able to do all this stuff, they're in a huge crunch. I mean, if I had a Freightliner just opened up that humongous building, and it's great. It's a really nice place, but they're struggling to find mechanics. Yeah. And our other vendors are the exact same way. There's such a limited pool of people that want to work and have skills, and you definitely feel the pressure right now because of that. I really think it's starting to get better. Still causes a frustration point. The parts thing. You know, you and I went through the list the other day, and it was like, well, this is waiting on that part, and that's waiting on this part, and it's like, wow, okay.
To the point where we're taking trucks from shops where it needs a part. Like we had one the other day that needed a part for the APU, an exhaust pipe and the bottom cover. Mm-hmm. That's not going to keep the truck from functioning. So that's one of the trucks that you took the APU. Actually, you took that truck to Bolt on Monday.
Yes.
Because it doesn't need a APU while it's up there getting the work done up there.
Absolutely. And when you say it's functional, the truck still works without it. We would never put a team in that.
No,
but
of course
through
not.
The process of getting it prepped and ready to go, we can.
So instead of having that truck sitting over at one shop for a week, 2 weeks, a month with nothing being done to it.
Because we're waiting on parts.
Because we're waiting on parts. Yeah. Let's move it. Again, the truck is functional. The truck is safe to drive. Yes. It works. So let's move that truck to a different shop where they can work on it. They don't need that part to do the work they're going to do. And then at least it's getting done. We're having work done on it. Yeah. It has to come back after that and sit for a month, unfortunately, because the parts we're waiting on parts still. At least once those parts get in,
it'd be good to go.
Everything else is done.
Yeah.
We're not then taking the truck and go. Everything else is done. The truck's good to go. So that's been kind of my juggle here lately is things like that where I know they're waiting on parts and need something else. Well, let's get them there.
Well, I definitely think the more you do it, the better you get at juggling. So I think part of that, you've been doing it 11 months, you said?
It'll be a year here in a couple of days.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should celebrate that somehow.
We should celebrate that somehow. We'll figure it out.
Well, you go to a house.
What's that?
A house in Marysville I know that's special to all of us. We should go hang out there.
We should go there. I agree.
But it's no, I think that combination of just more experience and also that getting these 4 additional units are really causing a lot more strife than we thought they were. Not that they're bad units; they're actually like the one that came out today is a great unit.
Yeah.
It's just backorder parts and stuff is taking us longer than we thought it would.
Yep.
I think it's going to be really good once that's out. I think it's really going to free up a lot because your typical shop, we're running it in and it's like, hey, we need this inspection done, needs a new belt. this alternator's not working, stuff like that. We're bringing them stuff right now that one of the trucks was literally, I need you to take the generator completely off, uninstall everything about it, and reinstall a totally different brand, totally different model, totally different style generator. Like, that's not a quick turn.
It's not a quick turn.
That's chewing up a week and a half at a bay.
Yep. And it's a specialist job, too. It's not your typical diesel mechanic that's doing that work.
Correct.
It's someone who understands the electrical components of that.
Yeah. So
it's a whole different animal.
Yeah. So we are...
And then they're also snaking wires. I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off there. They're also having to fish wires into a completed truck already. They don't have the open sleeper they can work in. They're fishing wires through that thing and making sure they get there without getting... It's a whole process.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's getting better. Until then, this week's going to be a whole lot of fun. So tomorrow I jump on a plane. I run down to Atlanta and pick up a truck. This was a truck that was involved in an accident a couple months ago. And it's been at the body shop. They just finally got it done. So I'm going to go grab that thing and bring it back to Columbus while Jerry Bear, you have a 4 a.m. call time to pick up a 4 a.m. That's right, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
To pick up a truck, bring it out. Where are you going? Bolt? To go to Bolt. So if you're at Bolt in the next couple days, keep an eye out for Jerry Bear.
Yeah.
He'd love to talk to you about expediting an Expediter Boogie. But he's looking at me with having to kill you.
No, I would love it.
Well, you said you're going to be hanging out in the driver's lounge editing videos, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, but you're going to bring that truck up there, get a couple things knocked out on it, and bring it right back. And at the same time, Buttermilk is taking a truck, brand new truck, brand new, up to Panther, and that truck's going to get branded and Samsara and permitted and plated and all that good stuff. So she'll be bringing back a brand new truck, while you and Mel.
Mel's here Friday.
She's here. Okay.
Yeah.
You and Mel are going to be running around and doing what you're doing now.
Yes, we are.
So it'll be fun.
Yes, we are.
It'll be everybody be everywhere.
Yeah.
All at once.
The nice thing about Buttermilk's trip on Friday is she can combine it with a visit to do some recruiting.
That's right.
She's taking that truck up there in the morning, and then she has a later afternoon recruiting visit she's going to do. So it'll be a long day for all of you.
Yes.
All of you. It'll be a long day, but we have the 2-for-1 with Buttermilk.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to get all that. That's going to check off a lot of boxes.
Lots of
It'll
be
a good push.
Yep.
And then next week, I think we have 4 teams moving in, and then
yeah, I do.
There's 2 teams the next week after that.
Yep.
So it'll be really nice getting those last few trucks out of here.
It will be.
And we're picking up 2-3 brand new trucks before Expo. We're picking up 3 brand new trucks before Expo. We're picking up, and then I think we have, it's funny, when we purchase these trucks and we put these orders in, we tell people, I'd like a truck a month.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice, comfortable spot.
It is. It truly is.
And specifically of type. Mm-hmm. So we might say, give me 1 reefer truck a month, give me 1 dry van a month,
right,
and give me 1 tractor every 2 or 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Nice, easy spacing.
Sure.
So we're getting 2 reefer trucks and 1 dry van before
July 21st.
July 21st. Yeah. And after Expo, we're going to get 3 reefers and 2... Oh, I got to think about this. 3 reefers, 2 dry vans, and 1, possibly 2 tractors. So
in all fairness,
it's like everything came together.
Sure.
Exactly
the same time.
Yeah. It's like, this is just worst case scenario.
It is. And to be fair, the new trucks, the brand new trucks, are less time consuming.
Yes.
Overall, I mean, we put a lot of time into those trucks to get them, all of the equipment that they need in them.
Yeah. But we spec them correct directly from the factory, so right. That is a little bit easier.
It is a little bit easier. So Jerry posted the video of me the other day throwing load bars and pallet jack and all that stuff in the truck. We do a couple of things inside the sleeper as well, inside the cab, make sure it's ready to go. But ultimately, it's a shorter turn than the upfit trucks. So they're not as much of a pain in the ass, but they can be a little bit of a pain. We got 3 trucks in the same week a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
2 brand new, 1 upfit. It was a little rough, but we made it through.
I guess that explains why when we were talking about everything, you're sweating and taking your glasses off, sweating, wiping the sweat off your forehead.
It wasn't a surprise to me that those trucks are coming. I knew that time schedule.
You just tried to forget about it.
I just don't want to hear about it. When FIDA calls and says the trucks are ready, we go get them. I don't want to hear about it right now.
It's like when you're in college or high school and that paper's coming up and you just kind of push it off and push it off and push it off, and then it's like, oh dear, it's due next week.
Exactly.
All right. Okay.
Gotta get it done.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's. I like it because all of the trucks coming up are reward trucks. Right. Every single one of them. They're all bathroom trucks. They're all shower units. They're all the trucks that we put teams that have done really well in. And that's always fun. When you get to take a team that's been out here busting, trying to get to that,
right,
and we can finally make it happen. It's a really good feeling,
and they're appreciative of that truck, that reward truck.
Yeah.
I don't like it because they're all reward trucks, which means that I get a truck back that I have to then go through and do all.
That is true.
With.
That is true. That's part of it.
It is rewarding to move a team into a reward truck when they're making them move across the different trucks and to see their face. To remember when it happened to us.
And you can. If you go to Lokeshire Expediting Adventures, you can actually see me give the keys to Vince.
And me acting like a little kid.
That was so funny. I still remember. I have that burned into my brain. It was such a good example. But yeah, it's... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. You can watch it in Lokeshire Expediting Adventures. It's in the intro of our more recent videos, probably the videos from the last year, where you see me jumping up and down like a little schoolboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
It was very cool.
I think what we don't show is Melissa's tears.
Well, we were trying to be
we were
compassionate.
Sensitive.
Yep. Yeah. We weren't very successful, but we tried.
No, we weren't, but
anyways, it's So I feel you on that. That's
But again, it's just the nature of the business,
Yes.
and we go through and we take care of them, and we put a brand new team in them, so they have new life. It's just thinking about the amount of work is a little daunting, but again, I can only do so much. We in operations can only do so much, and
Absolutely.
we do everything we can to get them out as quickly as possible, safely.
Yes. Yeah, you'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Absolutely great job.
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So do y'all. Amazing job.
We try, every day I wake up.
I think you could try harder, though.
Every day I wake up and think to myself, I could try harder. That's what
I said. I think you can try harder.
Every day.
I could be wrong.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Every day I wake up and I think to myself, I could try harder.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's where it ends. And then I call Jerry and ask him what he's doing.
Yeah, Mel and I finish our day, and I say, tomorrow we'll do better.
Yeah.
Every day we'll do better tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we strive for that every single day. This is starting to get a little sappy. What's next? What's next on the list for today?
Next, we're talking about... Well, I was going to talk a little bit about this past weekend and thank you and Buttermilk for what ended up being a great, extremely fun weekend.
It was a lot of fun, just impromptu.
Yes, it kicked off so well. We were sitting at the house thinking about, dinner and what are we going to do and all that stuff, and get a text message from Buttermilk saying, hey, I don't know if y'all want to or not, but how does board games and steak and shrimp sound?
Oh, that's right, Friday night, yeah.
And I'm like, well, normally I'm completely anti-steak and shrimp.
Right.
That's normally not my thing. I'm usually more cheeseburger and corn dog, but for some reason it just kind of stuck me as like, yeah, that doesn't sound bad.
Yeah.
I did what everybody does, and I immediately took a nap.
As you do.
And then woke up 45 minutes later and realized my 15-minute nap went for 45 minutes, and threw my shoes on, ran downstairs, yelled, Eric, we got to go, and got out there and called y'all from the car, just hoping she wasn't going to say, like, oh, we ate already. We didn't think y'all were coming. No, it was great. Melissa did, Buttermilk. I keep calling her by the wrong name. Buttermilk did make, it was a great spread. And it was okay, so I thought a little steak, a little shrimp.
Right.
That would be maybe she might have a salad or something.
Sure.
Maybe something. I don't know. I get there. She has 2 New York strips, and she's like, "Oh, I only have 2 New York strips. We're going to save them." She has 2 24-ounce New York strips, and all. How did she? Were they grilled or pan-seared or baked or what was that?
They were cast iron skillet.
They were stinking delicious.
They were. They really were.
And then she had the finishing salts,
Yep.
which I didn't know you only put a little bit on. I massacred one piece with the finishing salt. It was like
it was like
eating.
Jar fast.
It was like eating a salt lick. It was like, woo! I messed up.
I want to eat what the cows eat.
Exactly. It was brutal for a second, but then the other pieces I learned my lesson and was able to sprinkle, and it was much better.
Yeah.
But so we had New York strip, medium rare, cut in strips, or like the actual pieces.
Right.
So we didn't have steak knives, didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. And she sautéed shrimp in Cowboy Troy's world famous spices. Seasoning blend known as
Happy Half Acre.
Happy
I drew
Half
a complete
Acre.
blank. I used this today on the pork chops and just drew a complete blank. Yes.
So Happy Half Acre.
Yes.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. And it, because it's just the 4 of us, she made 6.5 pounds of them.
Of course.
And then she made 18 deviled eggs.
Yep.
Because everybody needs 4, 5, 6, I don't know, tons. More eggs than you could eat. Although we did eat every single one of them.
We did eat every single one.
And then there was a big old bowl of fruit.
Yep. Olives.
Olives.
She did
olives. Like an olive spread.
Right.
There were
like 4 different kind of olives.
4 different kind of olives. There were basic olives, and then she took the basic olives she took some of the basic olives and marinated them in balsamic vinaigrette with something. They were so good. There were none of those left. I'll tell you that much.
None of those.
And they really made the basic olives seem basic. And then we had Kalamata. Was that the other one? Kalamata?
Yes.
And it was 2 different green ones. There was the fresh green ones, and then there was
a marinated green one. It wasn't marinated in the balsamic.
And then there was the pimento one with the pimento shoved
right,
in
the green with
it.
pimento. Yep.
Yes.
And then I think the balsamic you marinated ones you did the Kalamatas. Right, but the ones you marinated in balsamic were Kalamatas, right? Just regular black olives.
Yeah.
So there were no Kalamatas.
There were no Kalamata. No. Okay. Huh.
No.
I'll have to buy some. And but it was so much food. It was so good. Made some concoctions.
Yes, we did.
And spent the entire night. What we never do, we ate inside your house and then spent the rest of the night out on the back patio, just hanging out and chatting and talking with each other.
We didn't play a single board game.
Didn't play a single board game, which for most of y'all probably don't know this. That's one of the things we do really love.
Yeah, we do.
Like we have played some serious board games. It's funny. We remember a few weeks ago, probably a couple months now, we were like, hey, let's go back to your house and play board games.
Right.
And so I was like, it'd be fun as if Don and Jerry would come visit us. And they were like, we don't know. We're not real sure. And then we said, well, we're going to be playing board games. And then they were there in 10 minutes.
Immediately.
I was like, you live 20 minutes away. How did you get here in 10 minutes?
You're talking to Jerry on the phone. There's a knock on the door, and it's Jerry.
Yes. It was crazy. Yeah. He's like, I'm putting on my shoes. Knock, knock, knock. What? But they were fierce. That was one of the most intense games of Operation I've been through in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You're like, can I transplant that guy's heart into my chest? Because right now I'm having a heart attack.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, when we saw the game being thrown across the room and someone storm out in a profanity-ridden tirade, then that's when you knew, okay, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. So, no, that none of that actually happened. I mean, the games did, but not the tirade.
The tirades.
But that was so. Anyways, that's what we normally do. We normally do play like Skip Bow or what are the other games we play?
There's that one card game we
Sequence.
play.
Sequence or
the words aren't coming to
aggravation. Aggravation, I love Aggravation. We went out and bought a really nice wood, expensive set because we enjoy it so much. That was a game that we enjoy playing with Mom. Actually, if you're a Facebook friend of mine, you'll see it come up every now and then. I'll change my picture, like around my Mother's Day or my mom's birthday. I'll throw a picture of her up in one of the things we've done. And her last birthday, we're all sitting around the table, drinking a little wine, playing Aggravation. It's one of the pictures that pops up every now and then. Now, that game, that particular one was made in like 1972. The box has been remanufactured with duct tape. You know what I mean? The duct tape on the corners.
I know that. I know that's that box.
So, has a string going around it to hold it together. So, that was my love of that game. But we actually went to go find one of those old games like that, because that's actually my dad's. So I was like, I want to buy one, that same old vintage one or whatever. Yeah.
Lots of money.
That's our inheritance.
We tried to do that with a game. I forget what game it was we were trying to find. What was it again? Balderdash.
Oh, yeah. They don't make it or something anymore now, right?
Anymore. You can't find it unless you go to eBay and spend $1 gazillion on a game of Balderdash.
Which is crazy.
It's insane.
Meanwhile, how many versions of Monopoly are there?
75,412, 13. Yeah. So they just came up with a new one.
I have Dublinopoly.
Wow.
Like everything.
Every city had its own
I think there's Hilliardopoly. There's like Columbusopoly, Powellopoly.
Yeah. I got Don Bob's Burgers Monopoly.
Wow.
See, it's just gotten too much.
It has gotten too much.
We do have for not playing Monopoly ever, we have a really nice wooden.
That's a beautiful set.
It's
beautiful set.
It's only meant to be looked at.
Right. It's a work of art. You put it behind a glass case and just look at it.
It is. What a waste of money. Anyway, so we just hung out at your place, did nothing, but just enjoyed each other's company on the back patio. And then the next day you called me. There was a store that had some things we were looking for, and so you were like, "Hey, I know you've been looking for this. They have it. Come grab it." Yep. So I grabbed Eric. We ran over to the store, and then once I didn't even really. I just threw clothes on. I wasn't really.
It was an impromptu trip for us,
I just didn't really care to do anything or whatever. So I wasn't really dressed all nice or whatever. And we're leaving the store, and I was like, "Hey, do y'all want to meet up and hang out or whatever for a few minutes?" I think I got one for you too.
You did. You wanted to, hand it off to me.
So I was going to hand it off to you, and they Buttermilk was like, or we could go have brunch. No, I think actually she said breakfast at 1 p.m.
It was a Saturday. She had just woken up a couple hours earlier.
And I'm like, 1 p.m.'s a little late for breakfast for me. And then so I said lunch, and you were like, how about brunch? And I'm like, all right, I'm on board for that.
There we go.
So we ran downtown, had brunch together. Melissa Buttermilk scared the dog out of me when we got to the parking garage, because the downtown area you gotta park in a parking garage. There is that one surface lot, but it's always full.
Yeah, it's always full.
I don't even try anymore. So I'm coming out of the car, lock the doors, and then I'm walking around, and we're in the Jeep. It's up high, so I can't really see around it. And I come around, and there's Buttermilk, and she's like, "Hey," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, my soul came out of my body for a few seconds and bounced back in. It terrified me so much. Yeah, I went to the Pearl. If you're ever in Columbus, you're looking for a good place to go for brunch or lunch or dinner.
The Pearl's a place.
The Pearl is it's a really good restaurant. Yeah. They got one of the few places you can get really good oysters on the half shell over here. They also do some really good charboiled oysters too.
They do.
But hung out there again. We're just gonna meet for brunch.
That's it.
And then we were like, well, let's walk around.
Let's go for a walk, yeah.
And we had
beautiful day for it.
We had eaten way too much.
We had.
Oh, I was in pain.
Yeah.
I was in so much pain walking around. And so I needed the walk. Walked around for probably half an hour. Buttermilk went and played in the fountain.
She did go play in the fountain.
That was hysterical.
That was hilarious.
Ended up going to the market. North Market's a thing in Columbus. I don't know. It's like it's a grocery store. Circa 1820.
Okay.
So back in those really old times, I was going to make a joke there, but I'm like,
back in my day.
Well, there was picture it, 1870 Sicily. So like they'd have a big, huge market, big building, and everybody, because they didn't have like a Kroger or Albertsons or Walmart or anything like that, you just had your one trade. And
you had your specialty.
And you would bring that to market. And so you would show up, you'd rent a booth, and say you were a dairy farmer, you had milk and cheese and butter. And that's what you sold. And then right next to you was someone who sold tomatoes. And across the way from them, someone sold lettuce. And down a couple things were some kind of meats. Like he's a beef farmer. Then you go next door to the cattle farm, or the pork. Or then you go to the chicken. Like everything was completely broken up. Most of these markets across the nation, these were only in cities. You wouldn't have this in real life.
No.
But most of these have been demolished all across the nation. There's very few of them left. And Columbus happens to have one. So they kind of keep that same tradition alive. They have a meat market there. They have several places to get produce. They have a cheese place that's heaven. I love the cheese place. And then they have some like restaurants, and there's like a nice uppity wine and craft beer place. And here's a place to get like little desserts. Here's a place to get chocolates. Like, so they keep the spirit of alive, but it is a little not what it used to be.
No, it's not. It's a little more specialized and almost more high end.
Yes, I would definitely say it's gone more towards the high end side.
A little bougie.
But it's a cool place to go, and you can hang out and, pay $3 for a chocolate truffle and walk over to another booth and, get a can of soda pop for $1.50 or whatever.
$25 a pound for a USDA choice ribeye steak.
That seems high.
I thought it was very high.
Is it more like prime pricing?
It is more like prime pricing. Notice we just kept walking. We didn't stop at that place.
Yes. But I looked at, I tried to look, but it was, anyways. So, they have a place there that makes noodles. Not noodles. Is it ravioli?
Pasta.
Pasta.
They do all
pasta.
kinds of pasta there.
Yeah. So you don't go there and get like an Alfredo, like pasta and take it home. Like they have pasta in a cooler.
Ready to cook.
Yeah. So you get it. You bring it home, you boil it, you make your own sauce, you make your own protein if you want that.
Right.
And it's a neat place. Like they do have some really cool little specialty places like that. Oh, there's the olive oil place too.
They've got like 50 different styles of olive oil.
Yes.
And you can go through and taste them if you want to.
Oh, yeah. I love that one. And man, there's some good tasting olive oils.
There really is.
Olive oil is one of those things where you're like, on a salad, it doesn't really taste like much.
Right.
Holy smokes, they prove that wrong.
Yes, they do.
So, we got to hang around there. That's a lazy pace. Jerry, you went with your mom, right? Y'all went and hung out there too. So it makes for a fun, lazy. Imagine the like walking the mall experience without the mall.
Right. Exactly.
And it's inside, so when it's hot outside, it's air conditioned. It's kind of nice. So we left there and we walked over to an arcade. This is a cool arcade.
It is a cool arcade.
They all the games are free, except for pinball.
Pinball's not free. Yeah.
For some reason, I don't get that.
But they've got the video games, the pinball, skee ball,
which I love playing skee ball.
Like TVs with console games on them as well.
But not modern ones. They have like Sega Genesis.
Nintendo, not 64, not Super Nintendo.
Yes, well, they do have a Super Nintendo too.
They do,
but they also have the OG
Nintendo.
Yes, they don't have Atari though.
It goes back too far.
Because
and the cartridges, and they got to have a full-time staffer just for that.
They have a giant light bright.
They do. That was awesome.
That's a really cool one.
Yeah.
But then they have all the arcade games, all the like. What did Buttermilk play? Asteroids.
I think she played Miss Pac-Man or Pac-Man. They had Galaga and Galaxian.
Okay.
They have just about all of them. They had the beer tapper. It's not called beer tapper. It's just tapper, or where you have bars, images of a bar where they serve beer, where you belly up to, and the guy on the end has to draw a pint and slide it down the bar. Anyway, it's just nostalgia. Yeah, nostalgia.
I've never heard of this.
I have.
Oh.
Well,
next time we go there, I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think the modern version of that is like root beer or something.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
They have. I did find that they had something. I'm gonna give you a little secret. we're bringing it to Expo. So I'm bringing this particular thing to Expo. But I got inspired from this place.
Nice.
Giant beer pong.
Oh, yeah. That was cool. And trash cans?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, too, because there's a dad and his, 7-year-old son playing, and I'm like, teaching your 7-year-old son how to play beer pong. I think it's a healthy...
The challenging part there, though, is when you make it in, you have to drink. The guy has to drink the whole trash can.
I know, it's 30
beer.
gallons of beer.
Yeah.
Oof, that's rough.
How do you get past the first one?
Yes. Yeah, and not to mention the cost.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's going
to be expensive.
Beer. They also have duck pin bowling.
Yes, they have duck pin bowling. That's fun. Which I like the other sport that they have there, and that is critiquing the duck pin bowling. That's more my speed.
It is a lot more fun.
This is the weirdest setup. I've never seen this at a bowling alley or anything. So duck pin bowling, it's baby bowling.
It is.
But not for babies. It's for adults.
For adults
and kids.
Yeah.
It's a shorter bowling alley. It's a smaller. It's more of a shot put size ball, I would say.
It is.
A little bit larger than a softball.
Yep.
And all the pins are on strings.
And they're also smaller.
And they're smaller.
Yeah.
So when you knock a few over, they pull them all the way up, and then they only lower the ones back down that you didn't hit.
Right.
That way you can bowl again. You get 3 turns instead of 2. And it's actually very challenging. It looks easy. It's not. I have done it. It's not the easiest thing in the world. The balls don't have holes, so it's hard to control them. They space them out just so where it's just challenging. Like getting a strike is almost impossible.
Almost. Yeah. You're not going to find the pocket like you do on regular pin. On 10-pin bowling.
Yeah.
You just aren't.
No, but it is. Yeah. It is still a fun way to kill some time.
It is.
And but at this alley, I've never seen this before. Along the edge of the alley, so you're like where the lanes are, there is a bar set up, and I don't mean like where you get drinks.
Right.
I mean like a literal table bar, and
just the high top table.
Just a high top table with 5 seats across it, and all you're doing is sitting there staring at people bowling.
Yep, that's it.
From not behind, from the side.
Yeah.
So I can see their face. I can see how they release the ball. I can see how it goes down the lane. And I can see what they hit, didn't hit. I can see their scores, everything.
That's a good time.
And that is so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you see people that are great.
Mm-hmm.
You see people come there with attitudes of like, I'm the best, and then do terrible.
Yep.
And that's always fun. You see little kids end up killing their parents. Not murdering,
no,
but I mean, just score-wise.
Yeah.
They're just outdo them. And it's so much fun. So we just sat there for like 45 minutes, an hour. No, it was actually longer because halfway through, like, I've done it before, and you sit there for 15, 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. You see some cool stuff, and then it does get a little mundane.
It does.
But we had a terrible torrential downpour come right when we were getting ready to leave. So we ended up staying for another like 45 minutes or so. And it was great. It was awesome. They had a wedding.
There was a
wedding party reception there. And so now you've got a whole mix of kids and grandparents, and it was everybody. It was just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And the cake was good. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah, it was good. It was a good time. I did actually get away with buttermilk for a little bit. Her and I played pinball together. Had to go actually like find cash, which I don't ever keep on me. Go over to a coin machine and get quarters and stuff. But that ended up being a lot of fun.
It was a good time.
I used to play pinball on Windows back in the day. Real pinball is totally different.
Completely different.
Completely different.
Real.
So much harder.
Real balls.
So much.
Real flippers.
Yes.
Real bump action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. While you guys did that, Eric and I went and sat on some of the comfy chairs they have. Because they have nice leather couches and seating areas. And I took a nap.
I believe it. I believe it. That food coma was. I was fighting the food coma the whole time.
This was like 3 hours after food.
I know.
I was like, I'm taking a nap.
Needs a little pick me up or bring me down or whatever. Something. But no, it ended up being a wonderful weekend. Went to Jenny's Ice Cream. Jenny's Ice Cream has brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart flavored ice cream. Shut up and take all of my money.
Yes. Right now.
Like, it was so good. Like, when I was a kid growing up, brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts were a staple at my house. Mom hated them, but Dad liked them. I loved them.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, we had them all the time at the house. It was great. So when I haven't had them in years. So when I had this ice cream, I was like, the rush of nostalgia combined with the fact that it's really good.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I ended up getting a bowl with a few different flavors because they scoop them, but they're small scoops. They're not like the big Baskin Robbins scoops. So you can get like 3 scoops, or probably 2 scoops of Baskin Robbins. Would you say roughly?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
they're pretty small scoops.
Yeah, so I usually get 3 scoops. I get 3 different flavors, and I like that so much. I ended up getting a to-go 4 scoops of just that ice cream.
I forgot you did that. How did it make it home? Like perfectly.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, when I ate it the next day, it was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gone. It was a really great experience. And then caught it after that. Spent the rest of the day at the house.
Yeah.
It was pretty much all day Sunday doing nothing.
That's what we did Sunday too.
It was great.
Nothing.
It was really great.
Yeah.
And then hit the ground hard on Monday.
And, we did all this weekend. Like you and I and Buttermilk and Eric, we did all this, had all this fun. And people are probably thinking, wow, they just left Jerry and Don out.
We did.
We did, because they weren't in town.
No,
Where were you, Jerry? Where'd you go?
Well, Don, his family lives up in northern
Michigan.
Michigan.
That immediately it's a blame.
Yeah, it's Don's fault.
Don's fault
Totally
immediately.
Don's fault. Yeah.
I'd have been there, but
No.
Don wanted to go see his family or something.
He honestly does not get to go home at all. So they just live very, very far north. If you're familiar with Michigan and the mitten, they're like in the very, very top. Only thing that separates them from Canada is the water. But so we actually went up there. His nephew, his oldest nephew, him and his wife are expecting their first child.
Oh, wow.
that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Yep. So they were having a get-together, baby shower, call it.
Yeah.
Although Ella did not want to call it a baby shower, but they were having a get-together. And so we went up there for that, visited with them. Don, gosh, he hasn't been back up to Alpena in the summertime in probably 14 years.
Wow.
Was it nice?
It was very, very nice. Maybe 80 degrees during the day. It was comfortable. It was really, really nice. But we did have something exciting happen.
Besides the baby shower?
That I would love to tell you about.
Tell us about it, please.
Yeah. So we are all gathered around all of the family, and we're sitting there Saturday. We do the whole shower and everything. And later that evening, probably about 7 p.m. or so, let me tell you a quick little thing first. For those of you that don't know, our house is set up to where you have a 2-car garage. You enter in through the garage, you go into a patio area that has a fence on both sides, and then you enter into the back door of the townhouse that we live in. And then on the other side is the street and the front door. So we're all hanging out, and probably about 7:15, 7:30 or so, I get an alert, back door open. I have a security alarm on the house. And when I get this alert, my heart sank. I mean, you want to talk about your heart just drops.
Right.
So I immediately hollered at Don, and I'm like, I just got an alert, back door was open. He's like looking at me like, what do we do? We're not there. We are way up here 7 hours away in Michigan. So of course the rest of the family was all like, call your local police department, call 911, get somebody to go over there and check it out. So I Googled real quick. I don't have cameras inside the house. This is something that I plan on adding, let me tell you. But as of right now, I Googled real quick the local police department. As I'm Googling and getting that number, I get another alert, back door closed. So I'm thinking, wow, that was a good amount of time between the two. I'm nervous. I'm thinking, not the landlord. They should give us a warning that they're going to be coming over, and they're not going to be going in our house at 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
So I call up the local police department, tell her what's going on, that I got an alert that the back door was open. She's like, all right. So she starts asking me questions. Anyone that's supposed to be there, who lives there. I explained me and Don. She's like, do you have a driveway? Do you have a garage? I was like, we got a 2-car garage. She's like, what's supposed to be in the garage? I told her. So she's like, all right. She's like, I'm going to have some officers go over there and check it out. I'll call you back and let you know what we find out. So during this whole time, when I get off the phone with her, we're all like, God, what could this be? We're all freaking out. I get another alert, back door opened. So now I'm really freaking out. I'm like,
they went
okay,
and got the U-Haul. They went and got the U-Haul.
Exactly. Score.
they're still there. Something's going on.
Right.
So about 10 minutes goes by, and 10 minutes is not really that long, but when you're freaking out in a situation like that,
It's
10
forever.
minutes feels like forever.
Yeah.
So I get a phone call. I answer it. It's the dispatcher. And she's like, okay, are you sure no one is supposed to be there? I'm like, no. She's like, so far I've got officers there. They're not seeing anything right offhand. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a relief. She's like, we just want to make sure. So do you have a code to your garage so we can get in? Because again, the garage is like a line of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So you had to jump a fence to get into your backyard.
Well,
basically.
you would have to jump 3 fences to get over to ours.
From the side,
Yeah, from the side, the way they're all lined up, the townhouses. So I told her, I was like, no, I don't have a PIN code. That's something that we have not reset since we moved in, and I just keep putting it off, but I need to do that. And so she's like, okay. She's like, so we're going to figure out what we can do. We're going to see if we can secure the everything, and I'll call you back. Well, right when she says that, I got another alert, back door closed. I said, I just got another alert that the back door was just closed. The dispatcher goes, well, this really makes me feel like this is going to be a false alarm because I've got 4 officers on scene as well as a helicopter in the air, and we see nothing.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I'm thinking, in a matter of 10 minutes, you've got 4 officers on the scene,
And
a helicopter in the air. Like, that makes me feel good. Go Upper Arlington. So,
yeah.
So she's like, okay. She's like, we're going to see if we can go ahead and still secure the premises. I'll call you back. So I get off the phone with her. Probably 5 minutes or so goes by. Phone call comes back in. She tells me, okay, we have double checked everything. Front door is secure. Back door is secure. Your neighbor allowed us to go through their house, and the officer jumped the fence and confirmed that the back door is closed and locked. We do see lights on in the house, and I said yes, because when the back door is triggered open, I have an automation set up that Siri automatically turns on the living room and dining room lights, because when you're coming in at dark, it just lights the house up. You don't have to worry about nothing.
Also scares off an intruder.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we were thinking, okay, well, if someone was there, they're gone because the lights maybe scared them off.
Right.
If this was a false alarm at this point, which we're thinking was, it's just because it thought the back door open and it triggered the lights. So yeah, that was a very, very scary, tense moment. We still wasn't quite sure, but when we got home late Sunday evening, we went through, double checked everything. There was absolutely nothing missing, and come to find out it was a false alarm. The alarm, the sensor that we have on the back door, was just a matter of, once I got home, it popped up on my app and showed that it needed a firmware update. It was malfunctioning. Wow. So it really did scare the daylights out of us.
I bet it did.
To know that, hey, they had all these officers, they had a helicopter in the air and the whole 9 yards within 10 minutes, like, that made me feel really, really good.
Imagine.
I can't.
You can't what?
Imagine. I mean, in my neighborhood, if a gunshot had gone off, maybe they might show up, helicopter. But I'm impressed.
It was stressful.
I bet.
Yeah.
I'm happy to know that it was a false alarm. But now I'm in the process of scoping out cameras, because I'm going to install
I thought you were going to say your neighbor's like, I know one of you did it. I got to find you.
House.
I want cameras so that way if something like this happens again, I can at least see inside the house and see possibly what's going on.
And by the time this episode airs, you'll already have the cameras installed, right?
Absolutely. But I will tell you this, though. When you have a false alarm,
yes,
you do get a nice little note left on your premises.
Yes, you
do.
The
landlord also receives a nice little note in the mail, and there is a $50 charge
per occurrence.
Per occurrence.
So,
you need help, you call the police.
Yeah,
and they charge you. I'm like, isn't that what my taxes do?
No, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So when Eric and I were in Louisiana and we were driving on the road, we did have a situation where someone false alarm into the house, allegedly, and so they did show up and everything's fine. My mom and dad ended up driving over there and checking things out as well. Everything was fine. Nobody broke in, and they said that we had an unregistered alarm. I didn't know I had to register it with the city police. And they waived the fine, as long as I would register it immediately. So I did. I registered it. It was fine. Then the next false alarm came with a letter saying, on your next false alarm, we will be charging you, I think it was a $50 fee as well, but they give you one free. I want to say they gave you one free a year. Like every year you had a new one that you get one free false alarm, and after that you got to pay for them. So then when the alarm went off again, I was like, we got to get a new alarm. The police called me back and said, oh yeah, they got in through your back door. And I was like, oh no. I had a sliding glass door on my backside of my house, and nothing was missing. They think someone jumped the fence, saw a sliding glass door, took a brick to it. As soon as the alarm went off, they probably turned and bailed. But I still had to replace the freaking sliding glass door. Yeah. So that was annoying. Yeah, big fan of alarms. I like them. I think they, it's like anything electrical. They're going to fail you at some point, but they do help out quite a bit. I'm glad it was nothing. I'm glad it was a false alarm. Glad you got to pay $50. That'll teach you to waste the police's time. But
the helicopter fuel alone.
Let's just talk about that.
Yeah, I know everybody in Alpena was saying the same thing. Like, so Don's niece and his nephew, they live in the UP, and they both were like, "Oh my God!" Like, if we called and asked them to go check our house, like it's so far out in the middle of nowhere, it would take them 2 hours just to even get there from the police department. So the fact that they had all of that in 10 minutes, like that made me feel good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. I don't know how long it would take to get here. We should test that.
Yeah, right now.
Let's do it. Someone call the cops. We are getting a little long-winded. We have to fulfill certain contractual obligations according to our sponsor. And one of those contractual obligations...
Can I talk about a news story? I know you're trying to get done. There's a news story I want to talk about real quick, if that's okay. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this morning in Charlotte, North Carolina...
I did see that.
A Delta Airlines airplane landed successfully and safely with no injuries without its front nose gear.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see that?
What?
Yeah, it happened this morning.
Yes.
Wow.
No injuries.
No injuries.
People were saying that were on the plane were like, it was a perfectly smooth plane. We didn't even realize we had an issue until it tilted a little. And they stopped, obviously, on the runway and did the evacuation thing. Like, they were like, it was a perfectly fine landing.
Yeah, they got to do the slides and everything. So I just wanted to share that with you. I didn't know if you guys had seen it or not.
If I'm not mistaken, that was flight DL 1092, and that was a Boeing 717.
That's an old airplane.
It's an old airplane.
Wow.
It's a workhorse airplane.
Yeah.
But enough about that.
It'd be cool if you had a model of that.
It would be. It would be. But today's airplane of the week, we have to get back on topic.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Is a Delta Airlines Boeing 717.
Wow, what a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence.
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane.
It also doesn't have its nose landing gear down.
No, it doesn't. It's actually...
It's in the flying
mode, taking off, it looks like.
It is. So... This is it's the last version of the DC-9, basically. We've all flown DC-9s back in the day. Well, some of us have. It's the old airplane. It's got two engines in the back of the plane, no engines on the wing. But I think the thing that's most noticeable that everybody recognizes is the fact that its seating arrangement is 2 on one side, 3 on the other.
Yes.
I'm sure we've all been in that plane that has 2 on one side, 3 on the other. That's a DC-9 variant. So DC-9s turn into MD-80s. When they get an upgrade, MD-80s turn into 85s, 85s turn into 90s, 90s turn to 95. But before a 90 was able to turn into a 95, MD, McDonnell Douglas,
became Boeing.
Boeing bought them. So when Boeing bought them, Boeing didn't want an MD-95 in their brand. Everything they have is a 7-something-7. So they made it the 717 and continued manufacturing them for quite a few years. They discontinued production of them early 2000s, maybe late 90s, something like that. Yeah. All of Deltas are like 98, 99 builds, and most of them actually came from AirTran. I don't know if you remember AirTran back in the day. AirTran, T-R-A-N,
It sounds familiar, but I couldn't.
They were a value airliner. Okay. Did a lot of like an Allegiant, Spirit, Southwest thing.
Gotcha.
So Southwest Airlines bought them. And they had their fleet was comprised of 737s, which Southwest flies, and a bunch of these 717s. And Southwest debated, because Southwest is exclusively 737s.
Exclusively,
They
yeah.
debated what to do with these planes, and Delta reached out and said, hey, not for nothing. If you want, we'll lease them from you. So technically on paper, almost all of the 717s that Delta operates, they're paying Southwest Airlines for. It's just, I think it's ironic.
I think so too. Yeah.
But no, it's a great plane, super heavy duty. That's why the plane can land with no nose gear, and they're saying they should have it operating in a couple of weeks.
Wow. If they can get parts.
If they can get parts, well, that's all. It's sheet metal.
Don't call your local Freightliner dealership.
No. That's all sheet metal. They're not using carbon fiber. But no, it's just some sheet metal repair, and they obviously have to fix why did the landing gear not work.
Come out.
But then it's going to be good to go. And they actually already have, like, Delta has certain ways they analyze the amount of damage done on something, and it's already been categorized as a repair and put back out in the fleet, whatever that code is.
Wow.
Like, they have no intentions of scrapping the plane. So it's a good plane. The 717 MD-95, it was intended originally to come in multiple lengths, just like multiple, so literally how long the airplane is.
Right.
The wingspan and the fuselage would say the same diameter. It would just be longer with more rows of seats. They done that with the MD-80s. They did it with the 730. I'm sorry, with the
747
DC-9s.
DC-9s. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
So they were going to do it with these as well, and they just decided, you know what? We got one design done, completed.
Yeah.
We bought McDonnell Douglas. Let's not put another penny into it, and let's push them into our other Boeing jets. If you want a jet that fits a higher number of people, you got to buy a 737.
We're going to upsell you.
Yes. And so they're successful. So every 717 is identical, which is different than the predecessors. They all have quite large jet engines, actually, for the size airplane they are. They look bigger than what they need to be, and they are, because originally McDonnell Douglas intended this to be
make longer
variable stretches, and this was going to be the shortest version. Okay. But because of that, they're very robust. They're very well built. The other operator of these is Hawaiian.
Okay.
So Hawaiian operates these all across the islands. You know, that's a saltwater, heavy. All the worst conditions you would want for an airplane. That's what it is. And the 717s work great for them. And they actually, to get them serviced, Hawaii can't service them in Hawaii. Hawaiian Airlines can't. So they actually pull some seats out, install a bladder, which is literally just an inflatable gas tank bag. Okay. And they put it full of jet fuel, and they pipe it into the jet wings. And they fly it to Los Angeles, because it doesn't have enough range to make to Los Angeles.
Right,
it's
without
not
the extra fuel.
Yeah, it's not a long range plane. So they fly it to Los Angeles, get it serviced, fly it back to Hawaii, pull the bladder out, put the seats back in. But I mean, that's commitment.
That's interesting. Yeah,
if you've got a plane that is so durable that you're willing to do all that work, that's a great machine. Yeah, so that's what's out now. These planes, they're gonna be retiring them in the next 4 or 5 years. So you still got plenty of time to go fly on one. They're very comfortable planes. They're the only airplane in Delta's fleet, mainline fleet, which means that Delta operates them, not Delta Connection, which is one of their regional networks. Right. It's the only mainline airplane that Delta has that does not have the seatback entertainment. Okay. So you don't get your screen.
No TV.
Which is kind of a bummer. But most of the flights they're running with these things are pretty short, so you throw a podcast on, like the Outer Belt perhaps, which you can get on all of your major podcast channels.
Speaking of which, you can get it on all your major podcasting favorite apps, but did you see it was announced today that Stitcher is shutting down in August?
Really?
Oh,
Stitcher's shutting down.
Wow,
that's huge.
It's massive. Who are they?
They're a podcasting company that also has they're a podcasting host.
Okay.
I believe they produce their own podcast as well.
I gotcha.
And they're a pretty large company, a player in the podcasting game.
Are they getting bought out? Or are they?
I just seen the tweet, so I don't know the whole story behind it.
So if you're getting your podcast from Stitcher, your Outer Belt podcast from Stitcher, might want to look for a different podcasting host.
Absolutely.
So it's actually owned by SiriusXM, and it says they will shut down Stitcher podcast app and subscription service amid a broader retreat for the once white hot sector. The company on Tuesday said that it would end the service on August 29th in an effort to drive more users to its own app and pull its its content into one place.
I know
they're trying to push all their people into the Sirius XM.
Or Sirius XM, rather. Yeah. Yep. I do know that's a big. It's been a big push for them.
Sure.
To bring all that stuff internally. Look us up on Apple.
Yeah.
Or the Google
Play Store or there's tons of apps out there that aggregate their stuff.
We're on iHeartRadio?
Yep.
Yeah. We're on iHeartRadio. We made it.
Amazon podcast.
Amazon, we are on there.
We're on Amazon?
We are on all of them.
Wow.
And you can also use the third-party podcast apps. I use one called Overcast.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's just an app that you can subscribe and that kind of thing. There's a bunch of those types of apps. You can find us within those apps if you like the interface better. So
very cool.
Yeah, lots of places to find us.
Very cool.
Leave us a review there if you don't mind.
Absolutely, we'd appreciate that, and we thank you for sharing us with your friends and family, and all that sort of thing. But before we go, I do want to say real quickly, we are in the final days of the countdown for Expedite Expo 23. You have hours, lots and lots of hours, but hours left.
20 days
to register for Expedite Expo. We encourage you to come out and see us. It's going to be a fun time. A lot of you already heard a lot on this podcast. We've talked about it. It is July 21st, 22nd, Fort Wayne, Indiana, the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum. It was funny. The other day I was on Road Dogg, and they had me on for like 15 minutes just to talk about the Expedite Expo. I just rattled it off because I've said it so many times, and we've gone over it, and I am like, man, that just flows off the tongue. It did not flow off the tongue originally, but now it's like, yeah, I got it. The Expedite Expo, Crossroads of America, Truck Show, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Allen County War Memorial Coliseum, July 21st to the 22nd. Come see us. We're going to be in booth 413, 413. And we are going to be on the show floor, I think noon to 4, noon to 5, something like that.
Something like that.
And then on both days. And but before that, there's going to be breakout sessions where you're going to have the opportunity to go and listen to people speak on all kinds of subjects, such as
insurance for your truck.
Insurance for your truck.
Building your own fleet.
Building your own fleet.
How to buy a truck.
How to buy a truck.
How to run a business.
How to run a business. This is not good for me.
How to be a millennial in trucking.
How to be a millennial in trucking. But no, it's so in the mornings I'll have these breakout sessions. You'll go learn all these interesting topics. That was just a few of several. During the show floor, it'll be open. You go meet all your vendors. Go meet different people from the different carriers. Meet people that are already doing what we're doing. If you already are doing what we're doing, introduce yourself to someone who is new. Tell them a little bit about our industry. You know, one of the things I love about our industry is that we are family, small group driven.
We really are.
And even if you're not someone with Hyfield Trucking or you don't necessarily work with that carrier, we're such a niche. We kind of stick together. We do help each other out. And it's just a great chance for networking and what have you. I encourage everybody to go. I will say on Friday night, we are sponsoring Casino Night and the after party.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a hoot, Nanny.
It really is.
And we encourage y'all to come out.
Yeah.
Throw down with us. They're going to bring out Casino Night is exactly what it sounds like. They're going to bring out craps tables and poker tables and blackjack tables, roulette. I think we're talking about possibly bringing out some cornhole, bringing out some giant Jenga. You know, we're gonna have a band there.
Yeah.
Officially announced today, as a matter of fact. Which, if you're listening to this, you're probably going, "That came out 3 days ago."
Right.
Well,
exactly.
We recorded 3 days ago. But it's gonna be the Incredible Awesome Brothers. They're gonna be there jamming it up. They are a really, really good band that we know. And I think it's going to be a blast. Saturday night, weather permitting, we're going to be out in the parking lot and having our outdoor parking lot party. We're going to rally up the trucks, ring up the trucks, circle the trucks.
Circle
the wagons.
Circle the wagons.
Circle the wagons.
We'll get the words right.
And we build what's called a squaricle. Inside the squaricle, we're going to be able to, we're going to have some food, music playing, DJ going, cornhole. We're going to have giant beer pong, like I said before.
Right.
We're gonna have out the I'm working on I can't guarantee it, but I'm working on a volleyball net.
Really?
I thought we would do like beach ball sand volleyball.
Right, without
the sand.
Right.
Yeah, and just asphalt.
Yeah.
So people, if you're gonna play that, don't fall.
Don't dive.
Don't dive. Yeah, we're not diving. No. Yeah, just have some dancing, have some mingling, eat some food, and just have a good old time hanging out with each other. The show will be over, so it'll be a time for everybody to kind of decompress, relax before hitting the road. Only thing you need to know about is go to expediteexpo.com, register. Registration online is free. And when you show up, if you're in a big rig, or truck, or an RV, it is $16 a day to park. But if you don't leave, you will not get recharged for the second day. So if you show up on Friday and you pay to park, you're good through Sunday morning.
Nice.
Sunday morning, they do kick everybody off property,
right,
but you're good through that time. And then if you're in a car, it's $8 a day. However, I don't think you're going to be leaving your car there.
No, probably not.
So you're probably going to have to pay both days.
Right.
It's a great time. It's a lot of fun. Come out and see us. We're going to have all the YouTube channels out there that you know and love are going to be there hanging out with us. We're going to be bringing all of our mentors out. They're going to come out and see everybody. So meet the people that we constantly brag about. You're going to have the opportunity to meet Eric and myself, the two owners of Hyfield Trucking. You're going to have the opportunity to hang out with Jer Bear and with Vince and Buttermilk. And we would love to be there to chat with y'all, meet you, introduce ourselves, and spend some time socializing, fellowshipping with each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks I haven't seen in quite some time that are going to be there, so I'm looking forward to seeing those
There's
folks.
a lot of people that are going to be there that I've never seen.
Same here.
Period.
Yeah.
It's a great show. I always enjoy it, and I am really looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it.
So yeah, please hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Check us out at hyfieldtrucking.com if you are interested in joining the hashtag Hyfield family and everything that we do over here. You can contact us on there, chat live with a representative Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 p.m.
Eastern time?
Eastern time, thank you. Go ahead and fill out the contact form, and someone will reach back out to you just as soon as they can. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, guys. We are needing subscribers. A lot of you are listening but not subscribing, so it's free. Doesn't cost you anything, so just hit that little red subscribe button and get notified every time that we put out a new podcast or anything new on Hyfield Trucking YouTube.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you've been doing some great content, some truck tours, some stuff to build some excitement.
Really
of course, saw that video with Chili prepping that truck and such. So, yes, we thank you for sharing the content you see. Remember, anytime you share our stuff, it may go out there to someone who needs to see it, who is looking for an alternate way to make money and wants to see the country and get paid for it. And, traveling is expensive. Why not get paid to do it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's a great lifestyle.
It really is. So thank you so much for hanging out with us again. We hope you enjoy the rest of your week. We will be with you next week. We need to plan our live. I don't know what day we're going to do our live on yet. We'll come back with you on that probably next week. But in the meantime, everybody stay safe, make good decisions. We'll see you next time.
Don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.
Good night.